Hey, gorgeous. Hello, handsome. It's your girl, Malyssa Jackson with All in Motion podcast team, and this is the Healing Energy segment, here to bring you tips and techniques to live an intentional and phenomenal lifestyle. Today, we have a very special guest, Chris Huffman, on episode number 65, perfectly titled Winning. Let's take a listen. Hey, it's your girl Melissa with All in Motion, here to do my first podcast. I'm so excited. And I am here with an amazing person who I just recently met a few days ago. And I was hearing his story and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get you on my show. He is a martial artist for 32 years. He is a father for over 30 years. He's an author of 8 books. Very impressive. I think he said he's on his way to 9 books.
Mhm.
And he sells insurance, which God knows we all need because that will increase your money and increase your flow. And who does not love increase? So let's give a hearty all in motion welcome to Chris Huffman.
Greetings,
Thank you for
greetings, greetings.
thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. So excited to have you here with me. And yeah, it's good to have you. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Chris.
But first off, the pleasure is all mine, and it's an honor to be your first guest. It is an honor to be your first guest. A
Thank you.
little bit about me, I grew up humble beginnings. Most people call it the hood. I call it humble beginnings. Fatherless
Hmm.
child, mom working 2 jobs. I was a latchkey kid. I pretty much raised my little sister since we're 10 years apart. And
Wow.
I can outsuffer most people. I'm not going to talk about all the suffering I've gone through. I'm going to talk about all the wins that I've achieved. And
Nice.
after making it out of the hood, becoming a martial artist was a byproduct of me growing up in the hood because I had to defend myself. And
Mm,
I remember when I was 9 years old, my mom seen me get jumped, and instead of coddling me because my father wasn't around, she was like, "I didn't like the way you was fighting, so we got to start getting you in martial arts."
ah,
That's when my martial arts started. I started with Taekwondo, loved that and for like 6 years. I started boxing for 3 years, started taking Dragon Fist Kung Fu, then it changed to Silat and Wing Chun and a host of other arts. And then from there, through martial arts, by mastering my body, I started to master my spiritual self as well. So through the
mm,
vehicle of martial arts, it helped me to master myself spiritually. And that's when I became a spiritual scientist, just trying little bitty things to help me evolve and raise my light and my joy, connecting with the sun, using ancestral altars to help heal ancestral shortcomings and unfavorable things that happen with them, all the ancestral trauma that comes in our bloodline. So, burning
right.
ancestral money, connecting with deities and things like that to help me grow.
Awesome. That's awesome. I hear that you call yourself the spiritual bully.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where'd that come from?
My spiritual bully, when I first started my YouTube page, The Enlightened Journey, THE
Hmm.
Enlightened Journey, a lot of people were coming to me sulking. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, help me. And I say, I'm a
Mm,
bully. I'm going to help you pull your spiritual bootstraps up. And I
right.
challenge people to be better. I'm not here to
Yes.
coddle you. We are all stronger than we believe we are. And
Yes.
I challenge people to go beyond the co-founding variables that got them thinking the way that they're thinking. And I challenge people to think beyond the barriers of what they believe is true for themselves. And
Mm,
I always tell people, your challenges help you evolve. I don't want to hear about your shortcomings. I'm more about what are you going to do? Become a doer versus more of a talker. And I just challenge people to be better. So I call myself a spiritual bully.
I love it. I love it. I'm also a martial artist, so I resonate a lot with what you say about martial arts. And I grew up as a fighter as well. I started at home punching the punching bag just because I was angry.
Mm.
So I completely understand. I mean, I may have even been a little bit of a bully when I was a kid. So, the spiritual life for me, tone that down, tone that anger down a lot. So when I hear you say you're a spiritual bully, I'm like, I love it because I'm always trying to, sorry guys, force people into getting better and getting more in touch with yourself, getting more in touch with who you are and loving yourself more. Like that is the big thing for me. I just, I'm always trying to get people to love themselves.
Yeah,
We forget about that.
yeah, increase that joy. And over time, I realized that I had to stop being so much of a spiritual bully because
Hmm.
people need to, well, cognitive dissonance sets in when you try to introduce something to someone, something that goes beyond their level of understanding. So I had to tone
Yes.
it down a little bit and just start incrementally giving people spiritual jewels so they can grow. So
Yeah. So you're a
that,
little more of a spiritual teddy bear now.
I'm more of a spiritual teddy bear now. Yeah.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
I like that. I'm going to use that spiritual
You
teddy.
are? Yes. Yes. Nice and cuddly for the ones that need coddling.
And
So, tell us about how you are doing this marriage for 30 years. I think that's very, very impressive. I would love to hear more about that.
The odd thing is, it doesn't even feel like it's been 30 years, but when I think about time, it's been 30 years. You know,
Mm,
my wife, when I was 15, we were in high school, and I sat
wow.
down the halls, and she was always with a group of girls. You know how the girls are. And I didn't have any game back then. I'm still a silly guy. I didn't have any game, and I was just waiting to get my chance to get her one-on-one. So I memorized her
Hmm.
schedule. So I was taking a long way to class just so she can just get familiar with seeing my face. And then one
You
day,
did this on purpose.
did his own part. I play chess, so I'm always setting people up. You know what I mean? So about 4 months in of me doing this, I finally seen her out. She stayed after school late for whatever reason, and I was after school late for whatever reason. So I took that serendipitous chance to
Hmm.
get to know her. And just so happened the guy that I was with had French class with her. And
Hmm.
that's the girl I've been trying to get to know, man. He's like, Nikki, I know Nikki. She in my French class, she cool. I said, well, we about to meet this Nikki right now. Better. And back in 1993, you can get two Big Macs for $2 back then. So
Wow.
I gave her my government. I shook my hand. I gave her my full name, Christopher Huffman. And she told me her name. I said, you like to have two for two with me? And she's like, yeah, I like to have two for two with you. I told my boy, I'll holler at you later. And we've been conjoined at the hip ever since.
Wow, that's so cute.
You know,
Let's go get this 2 for 2.
get this.
Could you imagine?
We became best friends. We used to double date. She had her little dusty dude, and she said I looked like a little
Ah,
ugly girl. And I was the only one that had a car. So I would take everybody else home and I would purposely take her home last. And one
mm,
was like, what are we doing? I know you like me and I like you. And we've been together ever since we were 18. So,
wow. So you kind of already knew she was the one.
I had a near-death experience when I was 9 years old. I got hit by a car.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I didn't die, I didn't see any beings or anything like that, but I just believe my consciousness was knocked out of my body. Okay, I had a 360 view of reality. And when I
Hmm.
got back in my body, I seen images of my future. I see my wife, my daughter. I see myself as an old man, and just images. Boom. So at nine
Wow.
years old, I didn't even know anything about near-death experiences or anything like that. All I knew is I had all these visions, and I remember this lady that reminded me of my wife. So when I seen her, I said, "I wonder if that's the lady that I had that I seen before." I couldn't tell her that at 18. That would have drove her away.
Right.
So when I knew her and I felt our energy, and it was like this just seems so familiar. I never even heard of a love or a connection that we have. And I think
Hmm.
it's really just picked up off of what we may have been doing from many lifetimes. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is interesting. So how do you think that near death experience shaped you? I mean, you were so young, so you didn't really have like a whole lot of life experience. You were still kind of new to the world, but it sounds like you saw your whole life flash before your eyes.
I did. The near-death experience taught me that there was much more to reality than what we were being told.
Okay.
Because at the time, the internet wasn't out. There weren't any books about NDE. The term near-death experience wasn't even in my consciousness at 9 years old.
Right.
It got me into sci-fi, and I think it really saved my life
Hmm.
because I was searching for some answers instead of going out in the streets and selling drugs and doing all these other stuff that a lot of my friends were doing. I was searching for some answers, and not
Okay.
the internet came out that I started getting those answers, and I found that there were other people out there like me.
Mm. So do you feel like you've always been kind of the person that searches for the answers?
Yeah, I never take anything face value. I like to process it and formulate my own answers. Yeah.
Hmm. I completely understand. I feel like I've been searching my whole life too. I
Mm,
didn't have a near death experience, but I've just always known, from church experience and things like that, that there's something bigger out there. There's what is it? I would ask questions in church that they couldn't answer, and I'm like, hold up, this is church. You're supposed to know everything, but
right.
they didn't.
Mhm.
So it's like just always constantly searching for those answers. And I guess that's what brought you to who you are now. And those 8 books that you wrote, you probably found a lot of answers if you could write 8 books.
It's not really that hard writing books.
Okay.
I'm a big talker and I got a lot to say, so I guess it makes
Mm-hmm.
it easy for me. But once I started growing spiritually, that's when I started being aware of my circadian rhythm, and I know when a lot of my downloads come. So
Okay.
I'm able to catch them when they're here from 10 to
Mm-hmm.
3 in the evening. Between that window, that's when I get a lot of my downloads. So whatever comes to my mind, I just type it in my Evernote. Regardless of, I don't worry about placing it anywhere. I just get it out of me. And then when I
Mm.
write my books, I write my outline first, and all the notes that I've took, I know what place to put them. So
Oh.
so I have like 4 or 5 different books I'm writing simultaneously. Whenever the information's come to me, I write it down, and because I have the chapters already wrote out, I know where to put.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
I don't write my books from front to beginning. It's just a hog walk.
A
It's just
bunch of notes.
a bunch of note that I then formulate later.
Yeah, that's interesting. I probably have quite a few books in my notes.
Yeah,
I'm a big note taker, huge
yeah,
note taker. And also too, I never thought about the circadian rhythms and, when your thinking is the highest and just taking all that information down, no matter what it is, and writing it down. Because
yeah.
I know for me, probably from somewhere around 4 a.m. to
Okay,
about 10 a.m.
okay.
That's when my brain is at its highest functioning. And
All
if
right.
I'm not up that early, then
Mm-hmm.
the day is kind of it's slower. But
Mm,
when I am that up that early, a lot is being processed.
hmm.
And that's probably the best time for me to be taking down some information. So that's really cool. Thank you for that.
You're more than welcome. Another tip for the future authors out there:
Okay.
dream journaling helped me write books. So
Okay.
dreaming, if you after 2 minutes of you being woke, if you don't write your dreams down, they'll dissolve. So
Okay.
dream journaling, as soon as I wake up, I don't cut the lights on, I light a candle because a candle is a great way for just to make the energy smooth. Nothing electric.
Mm.
So I get a candle and I pull out my dream journal, and then whatever my dream is, I just write as much information as I can about it. And by
Okay.
and all that sci-fi things that I'm doing outside of my consciousness in these dreams help me write books. It helped me kind of think a little different. So that's
Okay.
for the future authors out there. Start writing your dreams down, and that at least get you used to extracting information that you've already seen into a book.
Okay. I love that. That is awesome. I journal. Oh, well, usually when I do journal, it's like at night. I never
Mhm.
thought to do it as soon as I wake up, but I have so much information during that time. I don't know why I'm not. Or
Yeah,
sometimes it's like I'll have a good dream, I'll write it down, but I will definitely be more conscious and aware of that.
there you go.
So you have been amazing, and I would love to know if there's anything else that you would like to offer to our people. Any more takeaways? Tell us about your businesses or whatever.
Sure. What I'm into now is helping people set up a financial legacy for themselves.
Okay.
Because a year and a half ago, my nephew was murdered, and he was 30 years
Mm.
old with 4 kids and didn't have any life insurance.
Oh,
So
sorry
me
to
and
hear
my
that.
wife was fortunate enough to be able to take care of the funeral. But as I started talking to other family members and friends, no one seems to have any coverage. And there's a big financial disparity gap between other ethnic races and us because they're setting themselves up for financial success. And every time we have a birth or a death, we're starting from scratch. Why not
Hmm.
set your family up with millions, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for a low monthly fee each month? And I'm just educating
Right.
people on the value of life insurance because a lot
Okay.
of people don't know the 3 ways money grow. And we're only taught the fixed way. You get paid and put it into your bank. It doesn't
Right.
grow, no rate of return. It's liquid and safe, but there are no tax benefits. Rich people
Hmm.
like to lose a dime. We're okay with losing a couple hundred here and there. Rich people don't want to lose a dime. So they put
Mm.
their money in vehicles that's liquid, that's safe, that has a rate of return, and tax free. So you
Hmm.
get that type of vehicle in an insurance based vehicle. So that's what I do. I help people make money, save money, and protect their money and set up a financial legacy for themselves. And it's
Wow.
easier than you think it is. It is extremely lucrative.
And you help people to do that. So if someone were to call you, you would say, "All right, this is what we're gonna do."
If someone calls me, what I do is do the dime method. I look at
Hmm.
their income, their monthly mortgage expenses, And if they
Mm-hmm.
have any children, their education or all their expenses. And depending on
Okay.
how much they bring in collectively from the household a month, I put them into a vehicle that's going to be best for them. If they're not
Okay.
a lot of money, term is better than nothing. But there's two
Right.
insurance, the kind you rent and the kind you own. Term
Mm-hmm.
renting. After 10, 20, or 30 years, depending on what policy you sign up, it's over. All that money is gone. But if you put
Mm-hmm.
into a whole life, or what I prefer, an IUL, every dime that you put into that, you could potentially take out as a loan off your own money one day, tax free. And
Okay.
the death benefit and living benefits as well. So, yeah,
Right. Okay. Wow. Well, we all love to have money and keep it. It's nice to save some for later, have some for a rainy day.
definitely.
But that's awesome. So, how can people get more of this information from you? I know you have a YouTube channel. Is it on there on your YouTube?
Yeah, on my YouTube channel, The Enlightened Journey, that's THEE Enlightened Journey. You can
Mm-hmm.
reach out to me directly. I like to do things old school and organic. I got a bunch of cards. I had a website, but no one was really using it. I get
Right.
numbers. I get numbers. If you want to call me, my number is 513-908-8976. And
There you go.
you can say where you found me at, and I'll work with you. It doesn't matter.
Perfect.
I like to create relationships with people because if you do get an insurance policy from you, wherever you are in the country, I'm the one flying out to your family, handing them the check.
Okay.
It is
So,
when someone dies and I'm giving you two, three, or $1 million check that's tax free, it's going to alleviate a lot of the suffering that you're going through. And
absolutely.
for me, I love helping people. And through my insurance business, it's allowing me to monetize but helping people.
Mm-hmm.
A win-win for me.
Yeah, sounds like a win-win for everyone.
Win.
Yes, I love it. All right, cool. So, like I said, is there anything else? Anything else you want us
Well,
to know?
if you want to support me, you can go out to Amazon and pick up any one of my 8 books. The
Okay.
The Enlightened Talk. It's a book of metaphysical spiritual poems that's guaranteed to titillate your frontal lobe. My second
Okay.
Amazon best-selling book is called Poverty Consciousness. I grew up in a hood. A lot of my friends and family members was just bequeathed with poverty consciousness. So I wrote that book for them.
Mm,
And then I realized that, okay, now that they're aware of poverty consciousness, I got to do something to help them out. So I created wealth consciousness. After writing wealth consciousness, a lot of people was like, man, this book is heavy. I don't know how to line my consciousness up with other wealthy people. So I did create a book called Dissolving Your Limitations to help them dissolve their limitations so they can embrace wealth consciousness. And then I
wow.
consciousness equals choice. And then I wrote Seeds of Time, Volume 1, Seeds of Time, Volume 2. It's a book of spiritual poems again. And not really
Mm-hmm.
poems, but just metaphysical type poems that get you really thinking beyond the boundaries of what you thought was truth. And my last book
Right.
called Divination. It's a a bunch of spiritual practices across the world that a lot of people aren't aware of. We're used to
Mm-hmm.
tarot, numerology, astrology, palmistry, cardology, and all those, but I have about 100 other divinations that may resonate with you that you're not even aware of.
Wow, that's awesome. So that one kind of guides you to different religions or spiritual practices rather that may resonate with you.
Yeah, I went to a whole bunch of different pantheons and I chose what resonated with me and I took it out of that and I put them into one book. It's thick, it's like 300 and something pages too.
Wow. Wow.
It's
Okay.
good. And I
And it
got
sounds like they all kind of are consecutive. So like they help each other out. So if you don't get this, then this will help you get that. So that's awesome.
one technique that I use to get the reader engaged with me is I tell a little bit of my story. So my first book
Mm-hmm.
was my story from birth until I was like third grade, all the challenges that I went through. My second
Mm-hmm.
from third grade to sixth grade, all the challenges I went through. My fourth book was like 12th grade through adulthood. So I'm putting a little bit
Okay.
in my books because I'm aware that a little bit of the reader's consciousness bleeds into the reader. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to just help people understand that, yeah, humble beginnings are humble, but challenges help you evolve. But when you
Mm-hmm.
fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't fight for any limitations you want to keep.
Exactly. Exactly. Let them go. And just increase your joy. Start taking in more
Yeah,
sunlight. There's terabytes of the creator's consciousness goes through the sun every day. And just
absolutely.
sunlight will make you smarter. It'll make you feel better. It will increase your joy. It just changed my life.
I
Being
absolutely agree with that. I definitely agree with sun every day is a huge part of being healthy. I don't understand how people don't, I mean, it's just the fresh air. We feel so much better
The sun is the
when we
highest.
do get a little bit of fresh air.
I look at the sun as the highest form of consciousness in our earthly domain. Water's,
Mm-hmm.
and then this, and the moon is third. The sun
Mm,
helps you grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally.
mm,
Moon helps you, your intuition and things like that, all your clair abilities, help that get stronger. So for me, the
mm-hmm,
first 10 minutes of sunrise, the best time to take in the sunlight, and the last
mm.
minutes of sunset, the best time to take in sunset light.
Wow. So true. Well, as always, it's been amazing to talk to you. I learned so much from you. I enjoy it. You enlighten me, and I feel lighter and more
Yeah.
spiritual
Amen.
after having a conversation. I guess that's why they call you Chris Enlightenment.
I guess so. Oh, I accept.
So thank you so much for your time, and I completely appreciate you for sharing this moment with me. And thank you for everyone who listens to this podcast. And this has been episode number 65 with Chris Huffman. And he gave us his number. What's your number again, Chris?
513-908-8976. Give
Yeah,
me a call. Winning.
give him a call. So anything you could possibly want. He said he gave you his number. So just call him and say hi.
Yeah, just
So you guys have an amazing day. And thank you for listening.
peace and love.
Thank you for joining me and the All in Motion podcast team for this very exciting episode number 65, Winning with Chris Huffman. Please like and share if you have enjoyed this episode, and go to our website, allinmotion.com, to subscribe and listen to our other episodes. Remember to follow us on Instagram and your favorite podcast platform. And remember, if nobody else tells you today, I love you and you are amazing.